Welcome to BJA's Performance Measurement Tool Overview. My name is Kerwin Henderson, and I am the BJA TTA Specialist on our Planning, Performance, and Impact team. We're happy you have joined us today and are excited to present this overview as you all progress through the April submission period. The presentation will provide a brief overview of performance reporting in the PMT. We will spend the first few minutes of today introducing, or for some of you, reintroducing you to our PPI team, and then I will briefly explain the performance measurement process and its importance to grantees and to BJA. We will then cover navigation in and FAQs about the PMT system, and will provide contact information and resources to assist you as you are reporting. We will then wrap today's session up with a Q&A session. Once again, we encourage you to ask all your performance measurement related questions throughout the session. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to our Planning, Performance, and Impact team. The Bureau of Justice Assistance PPI team provides wraparound training and technical assistance on data collection and analysis to support grantees and federal staff from program inception to closeout. Our management team is responsible for team leadership and client orientation. The data analysis and performance measure review team is responsible for analyzing data and developing reports and developing and revising performance measures. Our PMT Help Desk support team assists grantees with PMT reporting issues, navigation, account creation, unlocking reports, and finally, the technical training and technical assistance team, which includes me, develops and conducts training for grantees and federal staff, similar to the training that you're attending today. The TTA team also responds to grantee inquiries referred through the Help Desk and requests for more focused assistance. I want to bring special attention to our TTA as we can respond to your individual inquiries and training needs related to performance measurement. My contact information is available. It will be available at the end of this presentation if you have any questions about the assistance we can provide. We're all happy and available to assist you as you report your program data. Today's presentation is specifically about reporting in the PMT, but I want to begin today by briefly establishing an understanding about BJA's two performance reporting systems, given inquiries we have received about the transition to the Just Grant system. The Performance Measurement Tool, or PMT, is an online data collection tool for inputting performance data. You can access your performance measurement questionnaires in the PMT. Justice Grants, or Just Grants, is a separate performance measurement system. Required semi-annual or annual roll-up PMT reports that were previously submitted in GMS are submitted in Just Grants in accordance with the reporting frequency established for your award. Training on the PMT, as well as guidance for submitting semi-annual or annual reports in the Just Grant system from the PMT, can be accessed via the links listed in the margin. Just Grants will eventually replace the PMT entirely. However, we are still within the window of transition for that. You will be notified once your program transitions. We understand that the transition may cause confusion since some of you may have multiple awards and report in both systems. If you are unsure of where your program reports, the first thing we suggest is that you confirm where your award should report in the grantee reporting graphic on the BJA Performance Measures page. I'll show you how to navigate to the reporting graphic later on in this presentation. We also understand that there may be confusion about which help desk to contact if you have questions or issues about your performance measures or the performance reporting system you report in. For the PMT Help Desk, the PMT Help Desk will answer questions about account creations, creating the report for upload to Just Grant semi-annually, questions on performance measures reporting in either system, and one-on-one assistance with reporting requirements and measures, including PMT system navigation, data collection, and to review submitted reports. For the Just Grant support team, you should contact them if you have questions about the Just Grants account creations, navigating the Just Grant system, unlocking Just Grants accounts, or help with your passwords, roles and permissions, error messages in Just Grants, and uploading performance reports from PMT into Just Grants. As a tip, just remember, performance measures or PMT, contact the PMT Help Desk. Anything Just Grant system related, contact the Just Grant support team. The work you do as grantees is vitally important, so I will explain performance measurements and briefly describe its importance to the work you do as grantees and to BJA and beyond. Performance measurement is a process by which grantees regularly collect data on their grant activities to determine whether they are implementing activities as intended in achieving desired goals and objectives. The process helps to tell a story of you and your programs through data and assessment. Performance measures are used to capture inputs, outputs, and outcomes over time. Performance measures also allow for pre- and post-program implementation analysis that can be used to assess change as your program evolves. BJA has established performance measures for each grant program. These measures can be found at the link shown here and are included in your program solicitation. These measures may be updated throughout the life of your program. Understanding the importance of performance measurement ensures strong program development. Performance measurement provides opportunities to improve existing programs and create ideas for new ones by showing raw outputs of program data. Performance measurement allows you, as grantees in BJA, to answer the who, what, where, and when of your programs. For BJA, performance measures provide a holistic view of your programs to identify areas of success and potential opportunities for improvement. In addition, this information allows BJA to identify and create targeted training and technical assistance to help you as the grantee as you continue through the performance management process. Not only that, but collecting measures also helps the Department of Justice comply with the reporting requirements of federal law. This includes the Government Performance and Results Modernization Act of 2010, the Due Accountability and Transparency Act of 2014, the Foundations for Evidence-Based Policymaking Act of 2018, and the Grant Reporting Efficiency and Agreements Transparency Act of 2019. Performance measurement provides a tremendous benefit to you as a grantee. It can help you proactively address challenges and generate evidence that you are meeting your goals and allows you to show the impacts of your program and organization. With that being said, I'd now like to transition to my colleague, Jameson Martinez, who is a member of our Help Desk support team. Jameson will guide you through an overview of navigating the PMT. Jameson?
Thank you, Kerwin. Good afternoon, everyone. As Kerwin said, I'm Jameson Martinez. I'm one of the PMT Help Desk support specialists, and I'm going to go over the next several slides with you about the PMT and reporting. Before we transition to talking about the PMT, I first want to go over the reporting schedule for reporting data in the PMT. As you can see on the screen here, this is the reporting schedule that details the time frame for each reporting period, the type of data required, and the due dates for submitting your data in the PMT and Just Grants. You will want to enter program performance measures every quarter and respond to narrative questions twice a year during January and July. This table can also be found in the PMT on the Information and Resources tab, which I will show you where that is in the PMT in the next several slides. And as a reminder, the PMT is accessible year-round for data review, report generation, account creation, and more, but data entry is only available for the month following the close of a reporting period based on the scheduled PMT due dates. If you need to edit any data outside of the scheduled dates, you will need to contact the PMT Help Desk to unlock your reports. So logging into the PMT, to access the Performance Management Tool, or PMT, you want to visit the website, which is listed there, which is ojpsso.ojp.gov. And this is the sign-on page that allows OJP grant recipients to access all of their awards using the username and password. And for example, if your organization receives funding from both BJA and the Office of Victims of Crime, or OVC, you can also access both of these applications through the PMT. And the PMT also allows multiple users from the same organization. We will cover the steps to that later in the presentation. The point of contact listed for each federal award in the PMT is the person who will first have contact with the PMT system. If this person is not already registered in the PMT, is registered as a PMT user, he or she will receive an email from the PMT with instructions on how to create a new account when their contact information is updated in the PMT. And you will get that information once you contact the PMT Help Desk. Will help you set that up. The point of contact may then add additional users who will also receive a registration link via email to create their own unique account to access the system. And also to note, you must be a BJA grantee or subrecipient to set up a username or password. And all individuals must have their own unique username and password. Once your unique account is created, enter your registered email address as your username along with your password to log in.
So the first profile page of the PMT displays the various awards your organization receives from a particular OJP program. If your organization receives funds from various sources within BJA, you will have multiple profiles. The picture on the slide depicts an organization who receives funding directly from BJA, making them a grantee, and who also receives funding from another potential state agency, making them a sub-grantee. To continue or enter data, select the grantee or subgrantee profile that you want to report on by clicking the plus signs and then your organization's name. And also to note, you will see that this page, you will not see this page if you only have one PMT profile award, but instead be brought right into the performance measurement tool. Performance measurement tool profile. So if you're logging into the PMT for the first time, the system will direct you to the profile page. Here you are given the option to view your POC's contact information and manage other users. To add and or edit user data in the PMT, go to the Manage User page. Only add users who need access to the BJA PMT to complete the data entry and reporting. Adding a user automatically sends that person an email where they will receive a link which will take them to create their account. If your point of contact information is incorrect on this page, please be sure to also verify that the right point of contact or POC is listed in the Just Grant system. If changes need to be made to your POC in the Just Grant system, please contact the PMT help desk and your state policy advisor to update the contact information in that system. If you're only updating your POC's information in the PMT, please also make sure you inform the PMT help desk along with your BJA state policy advisor of necessary changes. Information and resources. If you're a returning user, you will be directed to the information and resources page upon logging in. This page gives you access to important documents regarding the grant program, such as the user guide, the FAQs, a copy of the performance measures, and any other updates. Keep in mind that you can access the profile and information and resources page at any time while logged into the PMT. And now's a good time to remind you that the PMT will time out on users the system after 30 minutes of inactivity. So if you're leaving your browser open, you're sitting at your desk and you walk away or whatever have you, and you leave it open, it will lock after 30 minutes and log you out. But you want to be sure to save any data that you have in your award that you put in case you have to step away, so that way the data saves, so you come back and it's not deleted or gone. So federal awards. Reporting in the PMT is based on grant activities funded or supported by a federal award number. If you have multiple BJA grants or awards or the same program that are active at the same time, it is recommended and preferred that you close out one grant before the other one becomes operational. If there's any overlap between multiple awards where they are both active, supporting the same services and activities, data should be appropriated based on the percentage of grant funding. And please do not duplicate data reporting. To begin the data entry process, go to the federal awards page. Its purpose is to give you an overview of the data entry for all your awards. If you have any questions about the PMT's help desk toll-free number and email address are at the bottom of every page of the system when completing your report. Click the red button to begin the reporting process. The next reporting period you want to begin for entering your data. Award administration. If you are not a new grantee or if a program does not allow for subrecipients, this page will display upon clicking Begin Reporting Process. On this page, grantees are only provided one option for reporting allocation of grant funds. In addition, the PMT will also ask whether this is the last reporting period for data for your report. Select No to create a quarterly report and Yes to create a final report if it is your final report. The final report is the last report you will generate in the PMT. So grantees should only create a final report if all funds have been expended prior to the last day of reporting period. Otherwise, select No to proceed to your quarterly report. Next slide is grant activity. Next, you will be brought to the grant activity page. The first action asked every quarter is whether there was grant activity during the reporting period. If you answered yes, you'll be prompted to answer performance measurement questions. If you indicated that there was no grant activity, you will not be prompted to answer the program performance measures, but instead you will need to explain why no grant activity occurred. If there was no grant activity, your data entry status will show as not operational. As mentioned, not operational is considered complete, but it means that no funds were spent and no activity occurred according to your grant solicitation parameters. And now is also a good time to remind you that not all grantee reports will appear in the way shown on the slides, as this is just an example, but the data entry process is largely the same across the platform. To continue, you will press Save and Continue. Next slide, we have data entry. By indicating that there was no program activity during the reporting period, the PMT will then generate the program questionnaire. The screenshot is an example of what the tabs may look like once your program is operational. The tabs you see will vary depending on the program you're working on. Here, you will input responses to each of the measures or questions. You must enter data in all the fields for all required questions in order to move forward. If a question doesn't apply to your program activities and you're not able to skip, or if you are unable to provide a value, you may enter 0 to show that the question is not applicable to you in the reporting period. However, you must explain all 0 values. The option to add comments is provided at the end of your report and is available for every quarterly report. You can also use comment section to explain any part of your report and may require future explanation. So more information about data entry. Some sections of the PMT questionnaire will include skipping questions, which will determine if you will need to answer additional questions or skip a section of questions entirely. If you need to answer the additional questions, they will expand in an accordion style fashion, and if not, no questions will appear and you can proceed with your data entry. Generating the semi-annual and final report. In this section, once performance reporting begins in the PMT, once it's completed, the PDF report from PMT must be uploaded as an attachment to the awards and just grants every 6 months when due. BJA reviews report status quarterly in the PMT and every 6 months in the PMT and just grants to ensure compliance. If one or the other is not complete or contains questionable data, we will send you a delinquency notification or request for verification of your data. A few helpful tips. If you receive an error message, follow the prompt to correct any errors or discrepancies. Then click Federal Awards page and review the data entry status and report status columns to ensure you have completed the data. If your report is locked, you can please contact us at the help desk and make a request for us to unlock the report, and we'll be able to open it for you to edit your data. Also remember that the PMT will time out after 30 minutes of inactivity, as I stated earlier. To avoid having to re-enter data, click the Save button before leaving the system or as soon as you're finished entering the data. It's crucial for PMT users to remember and to make sure that the profile page is correct and complete and has complete contact information. Please update information in the Just Grant system first and then contact the BJA PMT help desk to request any changes that need to be made. Be sure to click on View All Reporting Periods button on the Federal Awards page to see all the reports available for your grant. If your organization recently received an award from BJA and is not appearing in the PMT, double check with Just Grants and check with Just Grants to first ensure your organization accepted the award. After you confirm the contact information, the BJA PMT help desk, you would contact us in order for us to add it to the PMT and change any information you need. Red buttons are used as indicators to the action required on a specific page. Select the red button throughout the page and it will complete the task at hand or take you to the next step for your report. On the data entry page, each underlined measure in question has a link to additional information. Click on the links. You can click on the links throughout the page for definitions and instructions. Make sure your previous reports have a data entry status of complete and report status of completed. If the error persists, contact the BJA PMT help desk for further assistance. Also, if your organization did not perform grant activity during the reporting period, you must still submit a PMT report. When prompted, respond to the question, was there grant activity during the reporting period? And the last two helpful tips. Grantees can click on the heading to collapse sections, but should be sure to enter all required information or the report will not be complete. In the 2.0 version, the cursor will not change in the appearance when hovering over the collapsible sections, but clicking on the blue or yellow heading will collapse or expand different sections. Users with existing access to the PMT can create accounts for other users on the profile page by selecting Manage Users. And I will now, after providing these helpful tips, I'll now turn it back to Kerwin to review all the sources and assistance available to help you with your reporting. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
As Jameson mentioned, before we begin our Q&A session, I first want to point out some of the resources we have available to assist you as you report your grant activity. Specifically, the BJA Performance Measures webpage contains some foundational information about performance reporting at BJA, including links to the PMT and Just Grants reporting system, contact information for the PMT help desk and Just Grant support, and the BJA YouTube and multimedia pages. Here you can find archive training on specific program performance measures, performance report submission, and sub-grantee management. I also encourage you to watch our sub-grantee reporting video if your program includes sub-grantees. As the prime grantee on your program, sub-grantees should direct their questions about their awards directly to you, the prime, before reaching out to the PMT help desk. The PMT help desk has limited ability to help grantees outside of creating or unlocking accounts. If you have any specific questions about your sub-awards, please contact your state policy advisor, grant manager, or the PMT help desk. Additionally, you can find the contact information for BJA, including contact information for your state policy advisor and grant manager. I will show you how to navigate to the performance measures webpage and show you where some of those resources are located now. If you scroll down to the programs, on the performance measures page, we have a link for the contacts at BJA. If you scroll down to the program's office contacts and click on the appropriate contact list, or scroll further and click on BJA policy office contacts, you can find your state policy advisor and or your grant manager's information located here and here. BJA tries to keep this information up to date, but if you cannot locate your state policy advisor or grant manager, please reach out to us. In addition, and as mentioned earlier, the BJA reporting graphic can also be found on the BJA Performance Measures webpage. If you have questions about your specific program, feel free to reach out to the PMT help desk. And as mentioned, the grantee reporting graphic is found here. Second. And here you can find where your program reports into what system. And as I mentioned, you can reach out to the PMT help desk if you have questions about your specific program. Finally, I want to draw your attention to the BJA Program Performance Measures tab on the Performance Management page, located here. This page includes a list of most BJA programs. When you click on your program, there's a document containing the performance measures containing the performance measures for most of the programs. There's also a frequently asked questions document. Available program-specific performance measure training can also be found here. However, please note that not all programs have performance management training at this time. And here is the drop down. If you click on your corresponding program, you will see the resources listed there. Stop sharing my screen. I also want to share the Just Grant support team's contact information for those of you who happen to submit performance reports in the Just Grant system. As mentioned previously, please reach out to the Just Grants team for issues related to reporting and Just Grants. For performance measure related questions or PMT operation questions, please reach out to the BJA PMT help desk. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, except for federal holidays. We strive to return every email within 24 hours, so please do not hesitate to send us an email even after business hours. At this time, we will transition to our Q&A session. If you have not already done so, please use the Q&A panel to submit your questions to all panelists. When asking a question, please also include your email address so that we can follow up with you if needed. We will answer questions in the order that they're received. We will also be sending out a transcript of the Q&A session from today in the next couple of days. Kate, if you also want to scroll to the reporting period, or not the reporting graphic, but the reporting timeline as well, and have that on the screen as we answer questions. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and transition to our Q&A session. The first question that has come in is a question regarding unique emails. Some of our grantees have a specific email for their position that stays with that position. How can we resolve this, as it creates a delay in new employees accessing the PMT? Liz, Wayne, if you want to go ahead and answer that question.
Sure. Hi, everybody. If I'm understanding the question correctly, our usernames that are set up, you can have multiple users that are added to account profiles in the PMT, but they are unique to the user. So each user should have their own unique email address and a request to complete registration. Once that user is added, will go to their inbox and they'll need to click on that link to complete registration, and then they'll have access to the system. If you happen to be a new user or you do need access to the system and you don't already have a user account, feel free to contact us at the PMT Help Desk, and please provide us with your award number. It's very helpful when you're contacting us for us to be able to associate you with a particular account or program account profile in the PMT, and we'll get you all set up.
Thanks, Liz. Another question that has come through, at what point would we as an awardee be provided with access to the PMT? Alicia, if you want to go ahead and answer that question.
I've been directing folks, if you're not seeing the grant that you're looking for, please reach out to us at the help desk. The email is currently listed on the screen. And then we will be more than happy to locate the award for you and make sure you are connected. Just be sure that any of your communications with us at the help desk that you include your grant number. Without it, it causes delays in response.
Thanks, Alicia. Another question that you're maybe able to answer as well. Who should be a point of contact for the PMT, the grant administrator or someone else?
Information is taken directly from Just Grants. So whoever is listed as your grant award administrator will be listed as your POC within the PMT.
Alicia. Another question has come through. Please advise if grant funds can be used after the grant closeout dates due to delays related to COVID. Liz, if you want to take that one.
Yeah, I would recommend reaching out to your grant manager or program office at BJA. It's possible you may want to submit a grant award modification or a GIM in order to extend your award if you haven't fully expended all your funds. That's something that we can particularly help you with, but certainly your grant manager at BJA should be able to provide you some assistance with that.
Another question has come through. Can more than one person report in the PMT? Jameson, if you want to go ahead and tackle that question.
More than one person can report in the PMT. However, sometimes when logging into the PMT, and if there's more than one user in at the same time, the system might log you out. If you happen to have that issue or an error comes up that says you or more than one person is logging at this time, just contact the PMT help desk and we'll be able to assist that. But more than one person can report in the PMT.
Thanks, Jameson. Another question that has come through. If we are a grantee, should our sub-grantees also be conducting PMT reports? Alicia, if you would like to answer that one.
If your program allows for sub-grantees in the PMT, you can actually grant your sub-grantee access to do their own reporting. You can do it from the Manage Sub-Recipients tab in the PMT. And then what happens is once you've completed your report and the sub-grantee has completed their report, this information will be compiled into your one report for Just Grants.
Thanks, Alicia. Another question that's come through is about reporting for a variety of grants. This specific person, the reporting schedule is for every 6 months and not quarterly. So Liz, if you want to address that question.
Sure. So it really, everything really boils down to your solicitation program. We are in a transition, so there's still programs and awards that are continuing to report in the PMT, and reporting in PMT is quarterly. So pay attention to that infographic, see where you're supposed to be reporting. If you are in the PMT, we are requiring and requesting performance data every 3 months. And then every 6 months, the PMT is going to auto-generate an aggregate 6-month semi-annual report in a PDF, which you can then download and save and upload to the appropriate award performance report, or PR, in Just Grants when it's due. Just keep in mind that you're paying attention to the report dates and that you're aligning those to the reporting period and the report dates that are due in Just Grants. We have noticed some of those are not aligning correctly. So if you're reporting for a 6-month reporting period for a semi-annual report that's due in January, that would be your July to December aggregate semi-annual report, and you'd want to download and save that PDF copy from the PMT if you are an award or program solicitation continuing to report in the PMT. You'll upload that semi-annual report in accordance with the reporting period performance report that's due in Just Grants. So it really just depends on where you're at in this transition phase. If you're in the PMT, it is quarterly, and then every 6 months, it's in Just Grants.
Thanks, Liz. Another question that has come through, is grant activity necessarily associated with the expenditure of funds? We are in the startup phase of a grant, but have not yet expended funds. Should the answer to was there grant activity be yes? Alicia, if you want to answer that.
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah, sure. Is grant activity necessarily associated with the expenditure of funds? We are in the startup phase of a grant, but have not yet expended funds. Should the answer to was there grant activity be yes?
I think it's on the actual grant. So depending on if you say yes, and as you're answering the questions, it's not asking you anything regarding planning activities, I would actually go back and mark no, and then include a note as to why there was no activity, or to include a note that says phase of the grant. There are some of our grants where if you say yes to activity, you'll have additional questions to answer based on and related activities.
Next question that just come in. I'm the grant award administrator in Just Grants. It appears that the reporting is in Just Grants. Are we supposed to input performance into both systems? Christina, if you want to tackle that one.
If your program is reporting directly into Just Grants, not have any reporting requirements in the PMT. I mentioned earlier, and I think Liz mentioned as well, eventually PMT, that system will sunset and all grants and awards will report directly into Just Grants, but we are in a time of transition. So again, if you are reporting on data directly into Just Grants, you do not have any reporting requirements in the PMT. If you have reporting requirements in PMT, your grant is you're responsible for adding grant performance related data quarterly and then uploading your performance report into Just Grants on a semi-annual basis. The two anomalies there, and we're actually in the process of just making a small tweak to the reporting graphic that we shared that is on our website, but CBER and post-conviction are two programs that report directly into the PMT on a semi-annual basis. So apologize for the confusion there. Those are two programs that on a little bit of a different schedule that those programs transferred over to BJA from NIJ. So just wanted to clarify that.
Another question that has come through, we are a first-time grant recipient. Can you please distinguish between sub-grantee and sub-recipient? Liz, if you want to tackle that one.
Sure, no difference. Sub-recipient and sub-grantee, the terminology can be used interchangeably. So really kind of depending on which documents or policies you're looking at, but the way the PMT looks at that is sub-grantee, sub-recipients are one and the same. But as Alicia alluded to, some programs in the PMT do not allow for sub-grantee level reporting. So it really does depend on your program and if that particular program in the PMT allows for sub-grantee level data reporting. So again, it really just depends on your situation.
Thanks, Liz. Alicia, this will be a question for you. This will be our first time to request reimbursement of expended grant funds. What form is used to request this reimbursement?
Directing folks with questions regarding reimbursement to their grant manager and Just Grants system.
Another question has come through. If there has been no money spent during the reporting period and we then mark no grantee level activity along with an explanation, is that all we have to do for that reporting period? We have been meeting with our TTA coach and initiated a GAM, but we haven't spent any grant funds. Christina, if you want to address that question.
So if you've not expended any grant funds, you would, to the question, there's a question in the PMT. Let me see what the specific. So if no grant funding has been expended, you'll answer no to the question, was there grant activity during the reporting period? That allows you to provide an explanation as to why, and then you skip the performance measures. So some folks think that just because they haven't had expended any funds, they don't need to do anything, but that's not true. You do have to log in, and fulfilling your reporting requirement is indicating that there was no grant activity. And that's in order to become compliant.
Next question. I have had 2 experiences when submitting a quarterly PMT that it was changed to a final report upon submission. The first time was in 2021, and the most recent one was with the last PMT I submitted. Is this a common problem that others are experiencing? I have been working with my grant manager on this issue, and there doesn't seem to be a clear explanation for it. Alicia, if you want to tackle this question and issue.
For the PMT, if you're reporting from the grantee point, the PMT will actually ask you prior to even starting a report, if this quarter is your final reporting quarter. You'll either say yes or no. Some folks are accidentally saying yes and then generating a final report, and then they're having issues where they have to come back to the help desk to unlock it. In reporting from the sub-grantee level, the system generates your reports based on the program or project dates in the system. So as a subrecipient, if your program is set to end in June, but you want to close it out for the January to March reporting period, you will have to reach back out to your prime or whoever you're receiving the funding from in order to close that sub-award out early. Again, if you're on the grantee side, the system will ask you, if this is the final reporting period.
Thank you, Alicia. The next question we have is from a newer grantee. The project narrative we submitted with the application didn't state that we would conduct many of the activities listed in the PMT. Is our funding at risk if we aren't reporting activities in all sections? Liz, if you want to go ahead and answer that question.
So performance measures in the PMT are sometimes meant to be generic in order to apply to a broad range or cohort of grantees. So it's possible, not all of the great work and activities that you all are funding within your program are being recognized or being recorded or have a space for a response, which is why we do have those 6-month narrative questions where you can further explain some of the activities or data that you either report in the PMT or that you're doing outside of the measures that we ask. So all of that from the PMT will be produced into your PDF report every 6 months, and then you'll need to attach that to Just Grants. If you have additional information or activities that potentially maybe your grant manager is asking for, or maybe there could potentially be some measures that you're not seeing in the PMT that you should be, I would just suggest that you reach out to us at the help desk if you haven't already, and we can work with you and your grant manager to kind of fill those gaps and see what may be missing. In Just Grants, you can attach multiple documents. So if you feel as though your PDF report from the PMT doesn't capture everything, certainly feel free to attach any sort of supplemental documents, any sort of reports or any other documents, policies, procedures that you all may have that you're recording on your own internally throughout your organization for your grant funding. And you can also pass those along to your grant manager as an attachment to your performance report in Just Grants as well. But if you haven't already reached out to us to see if we can help fill in any missing gaps, we'd be happy to work with you and your grant manager on that.
Thanks, Liz. The next question that has come through, for the PMT, some of the areas are grayed out in the law enforcement agencies only. Please complete the following 3 sections regardless of JAG funding section. Can those areas be unlocked? Alicia, if you want to answer that question.
Generally speaking, when you're encountering a grayed out area in your report, it is a baseline question or a question referring to activity prior to the start of the grant. If you have that information unlocked to update, you to us at the help desk and we will assist you from there.
Thanks, Alicia. Another question that just come through. How can we get the PMT, I'm assuming the PMT reports, reopened to make a correction? Alicia, if you want to take that.
To reopen or unlock a report, reach out to the PMT help desk either at our email address or by phone, and just make sure that, again, for all communication, that you're providing us with the federal award number and the reporting period that you are requesting to have opened.
Alicia. This next question is a follow-up question on the reporting graphic. What if our specific grant is not listed on the PDF on the grantee reporting guidance? Christina, if you want to answer that question.
Sure. If you could maybe drop your, I don't know if you did, if you could drop your award number or award name in the chat, we can try to triage now. You can feel free to reach out to us. I believe there's also a way to check this in directly in Just Grants as well. We have right now. Take a look and get right back to you in the chat.
Thanks, Christina. I see a number of questions that have come through about receiving the deck from today. We will be receiving the deck and follow up with all of the links that were mentioned after today's session, with all of our contact information. If you have any follow-up questions about your specific program, if you have a question about the PMT itself. So we'll send that out to you shortly after today's presentation.
And Carwin,
about 8 minutes.
I was just going to mention there's some folks who either got the invitation for the training late or are asking about specifically Just Grants training, or if we're going to cover Just Grants in this session. And we're nearing the end and we did not. But Just Grants has a whole bunch of resources available on the Just Grants, I think, training support page. A joint training actually with the Just Grants team during the most recent reporting periods. That is up on BJA's YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and search in for Bureau of Justice Assistance, you'll see a lot of different training videos. But we did do one specific, the Just Grants team, so that should help you there. This training will be available in the coming weeks as soon as possible. We do have to make it 508 compliant before it can be posted. But we again did do a very similar training in the past. I believe we did one in October and then in January, and one or more of those are posted on the YouTube page as well. So I encourage you to go there. Folks are asking about the reporting graphic, and I know we only showed it for a short period of time. I did drop that link into the chat. We will check on the Smart Prosecution. If you're not finding your grant there, please to us. That's it.
I had a follow-up question come through about this training being available before the April 3rd report due date. We're not quite sure. However, if you do, as Christina mentioned, if you go and visit either the BJ YouTube page or the BJ Multimedia page, our past PMT overview trainings are posted and archived there for you to view. And it covers a lot of the same information in terms of reporting into the PMT and submitting PMT reports into the Just Grant system as well. So we have about 6 minutes left in today's session. If you have any additional questions, feel free to submit them into the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of the screen. I believe some questions came in through chat, so if you want to resubmit your question in through the Q&A, and we'll go ahead and address it, feel free to do so. Question that has come in, please tell me why my task listing might not show any quarterly report due for the January to March reporting period. Alicia, if you want to handle that one.
I was actually just in the process of typing a response. The Just Grant system is only for the semi-annual reporting. So if you have an award that reports quarterly in the PMT, You're only required to do that report in the PMT system. Once it's done and marked as complete under the data entry status and created under the report status, that is your reporting requirement for the quarter. If it is a final report or if it's listed as one of the semi-annual reports, the PMT actually has a little text blurb right below the reporting period that says, reminder, upload this report to Just Grants by, and it'll list the deadline.
And Karen, just wanted to let folks know I did drop in the chat 2 links to the different YouTube videos that we mentioned. One being essentially an earlier version of today's training, and then also the training we did in partnership with the Just Grants team. And they review in that session specifically how to report in Just Grants, and have a bunch of trainings on their resource page as well.
Another question that has come through that I know is being answered in the chat, but I'll read it out loud. If our reporting staff is out for unforeseen reasons during the open reporting period time, is there a way to unlock the reports to have them submit upon their return? Alicia, if you want to answer that one too.
Yes, for any grantee that is needing a report unlocked, you can always contact the help desk via email or phone, and we'll be more than happy to unlock that report for you. If the person that normally does your reporting is out of the office and no one else in your organization has an account, please also reach out to the help desk. We can then go forward with creating an account for you.
Alicia, we've got about 2 minutes. The next question that has come through, questions 22 and 23 in general information, specific crimes identified in question 12. What is question 12? I'm not sure what program you're referring to, but Alicia, if you want to, I'll see you answer, but if you want to address that as well.
Sure. Any questions that you have that are specific to the measures, please be sure to reach out to the help desk via email or phone. Email is better. That way we can send your exact question over to our analyst for further assistance.
Thanks, Alicia. We'll get to one more question. All of my reports have been submitted via Just Grants. Is it safe to say I am not, one second, it jumped. Is it safe to say, I'm sorry, it's jumping on me. Is it safe to say I'm not required to submit reports via PMT? Christina, if you want to answer that one.
Yes. I said yes in the chat. There's a sort of a caveat to that. So if you have confirmed that you have no reporting responsibilities in the PMT, that your program is reporting directly into Just Grants, and you're seeing your reports in your work list, then yes, it's safe to say. Sometimes we've had folks or grantees where they don't think they have reporting responsibility in PMT, and they'll upload maybe a Word document or other attachment when the semi-annual report is due, and technically does not fulfill reporting requirements. So if you've confirmed that your award reports directly in Just Grants, we've talked a little bit about how to do that, then you do not have any reporting requirements in the PMT.
Thanks, Christina. We have reached time, but I also wanted to go back and reiterate, you all will be receiving the slides, PDF copy of today's slides, as well as this transcript of today's Q&A session for you to refer to. For those of you that submitted questions recently, we'll follow up with you individually through our PMT help desk to answer those questions. So thank you all for joining us today. Once again, if you have any follow-up questions, please contact us through the PMT help desk, or directly reach out to me, your TTA specialist, or your BJA grant manager. We will respond to any questions not answered in today's session by email over the next couple of days. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that you all have a great rest of the day. Happy reporting.